Hey everybody, we are officially live for the fourth and final workshop of our semester this semester. Thank you all for being here. I am so excited to dive in and discuss this upcoming workshop. We're going to get started in 10 minutes. So if you're watching the recording of this, you can fast forward by 10 minutes. We'll get started at 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock on the East Coast, 4 o'clock on the West Coast, and 5 o'clock in Mountain Time. But yeah, we'll get started in just a moment. I'm going to send out the link to everybody. So for those of you who are not following us, if you did, that'd be cool. But if you're not, I'm going to send it out via email. So then you have it. There it is. Sending via email. I always like to send a send preview just to make sure that it's sending out the way I want it to send out. Well, it's officially late April. Has anybody got any fun summer plans or any fun plans for May? Would love to learn about it. Oh, there's the test. Perfect. Let me test to see that went to the right page. It is, and it does. Fantastic. All right, sending now. All right, everyone should have the email in just a moment. It's traversing the interwebs. Anybody doing anything fun over, I guess any fun May plans? I feel like all of the people that are close to me in my life have a birthday in May. My two of my best friends have birthdays in May. My wife's birthday's in May. My dad's birthday's in May. So it's a lot of birthday going on in May. Anybody like that where they've got a lot of close people where they got birthdays in May? Post your comment in the chat area. Please introduce yourself here. You are tuning in from. Pulling up my notes. There they are. There are my notes. Perfect. Bringing them over to this screen. All right. Well, one fun thing we do at Ambition in Motion is I host these executive symposiums. I think I talked about them in our third workshop a few weeks ago. But I host these executive symposiums in Texas. I do them in Dallas, Houston, and Austin. And we discuss topics relevant to leadership. So tomorrow I've got an executive symposium, which is why we had to move our workshop from Thursdays to Wednesdays because I will be in Houston tomorrow discussing with a a cadre of panelists, the topic, how to effectively succession plan and promote from within. So if any of you watching this are interested in coming to Houston and discussing how to effectively succession plan, you are more than invited. Just send us a message and we'll get you the RSVP link. We'd love to see you there. But if you need more advance notice than 24 hours and you're interested in those leadership events and you're in the Texas area or can get to the Texas area, please don't hesitate to reach out. I love, one, we would get to meet in person, which is always amazing. And two, yeah, we could talk about really amazing leadership stuff. So our next one after Houston is going to be on June 13th in Dallas topic is how to effectively lead multinational and multicultural teams. So very interesting topic, and very excited about it. But yeah, we're gonna get started in 5 minutes. So if you're watching the recording of this, you can fast forward by 5. We'll get started in just a moment. I wish I could play fun music, I guess. I don't know. Is anybody speaking of fun music, did anybody discovering any new bands or going to any new concerts or seen any music that you're excited to see? Earlier this spring, my hey, we got some people watching. Say where you're tuning in from. Introduce yourself in the chat. We're gonna get started in just a few minutes, and yeah, also share who is like one of your favorite bands to go see. I'd love to learn about that. I earlier this spring, my wife took me on a surprise. By the way, I love surprises. Surprises are my favorite thing in the world. And so for my birthday, I love when my wife surprises me, and she surprised me by taking me to a concert festival, and we got to see Matt and Kim. And I just think they're an incredible, like they're a good band on the radio and on the music, like via Spotify or whatever. But man, in live in concert, they bring the energy, and it's really, really a good time. So highly recommend them. For going to a concert. And another band that I saw at that concert festival that I thought was very impressive was Greta Van Fleet. Very good. Um, yeah, they're really very impressive. I don't know, nothing else to say except for they surprisingly surprised me with how good they were. So yeah. So anyways, yeah, introduce yourself in the chat. Say who you are, where you're tuning in from, and any of your favorite bands that you like to listen to. As I chug down my giant bottle of water. And yeah, for those of you that are now just tuning in now, I was just sharing before tomorrow we have an executive symposium in Houston, but I'm hosting events in Dallas, Houston, and Austin. If you can get to the Texas area and would like to come to a leadership event, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to have you. Tomorrow's event is on how to effectively succession plan and promote from within. Next one's going to be in the Dallas area on June 13th. Topic is how to effectively lead multinational and multicultural teams. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, if you like talking about leadership, if you want to meet with other leaders, send me a message. Happy to give you a free ticket. Love to have you do it. Love to meet in person. And there's nothing more rewarding to me than like meeting our mentors in our higher ed program. And yeah, discussing leadership and the challenges we face as leaders and how to sometimes feel less lonely, because sometimes being in a leadership role can be a lonely place sometimes. All right, we're gonna get started in 1 minute. For those of you who are live, thanks for tuning in live. If you're not tuning in live, all good. Just leave your comments in the comment section and all that sort of fun stuff. If you have any questions about anything, just email us at support@ambition-in-motion.com. We can answer your questions if you're not live, but if you are live, I can answer your questions right now. All righty, we are getting close to that time. It is officially 6 o'clock here in Austin, Texas, 7 o'clock on the East Coast, 5 o'clock in Colorado, and 4 o'clock on the West Coast. Thank you all for being a mentor this semester. I just wanted to first start off with just saying how grateful I am to have had you as a mentor this past semester. Truly, seriously, I mentioned, I don't know if you remember me mentioning those stats about how much more successful young professionals are when they have mentors, but seriously, they are, and it has a huge impact. You may think like, oh, well, all we did was have a handful of conversations, and I shared with them my perspective, and I asked them some questions that maybe help clarify their situations. It has an impact. And you may think like, oh, it was just a casual conversation. I would have done it for anybody. The fact that you were there for these students is huge, and it really does have an impact. And I just want to let you know how grateful and thankful I am to have had you as a mentor this semester. It really does mean a lot. And yeah, I really appreciate it. It does help these students out immensely. And it may seem small and menial, but it really does have an impact. So during this workshop, what we're going to cover is how to continue your relationship with your mentee even after the formal program is over, how to help your student find fulfillment through what they are going through right now in their lives, and the questions that can help stimulate this conversation. And then the final step for this program this semester. By the way, the final step for this program in the semester is completing the post-program assessment, the survey. It's in your dashboard. So if you could go to your dashboard, it says like complete your post-program assessment. It's a button. It should take a couple minutes. It would really give us a lot of great feedback on what we can do to improve the program, what you liked about the program. If you got testimonials, we love the testimonials, love to share them back with your organization. That is really huge. So I always like to start off with the 3 keys to successful mentoring. That is strategy, story, state. I said them in reverse order of importance. State is the most critical element to any successful relationship. I mean, if we come in sad, mad, angry, dejected, just burnt out, feeling not so great about ourselves, it's going to show in our conversations with our students, with our mentees, or really with anybody that we're interacting with. But if we come in excited, one thing I've actually recently started doing, instead of dancing like a crazy person, I've started doing jumping jacks, and that works. And man, I did not sleep the best last night, but gosh, I did some jumping jacks. I did 100 jumping jacks. And it's the equivalent of, dancing around like crazy or screaming at the top of your lungs. I tell you what, getting that blood flowing got my energy lifted. It's something about getting your blood pumping and going that really does lift the mood. I swear it's crazy. It takes a couple minutes to do, but lifting your state physically has a huge impact on those you're interacting with and their feelings about you and the perspective you give off. But if you come off as like, oh man, I'm sad or I'm angry or I'm just frustrated or things aren't going the way I wanted to. If you give off that vibe, people will tell. They might not tell you, but they can tell. They read your body language. Body language is the #1 way in which people communicate. So if you're in a good state, you are going to communicate that. Second key, story. What's the story you tell yourself for why you're going to be successful as a mentor? You've now ideally already had multiple mentor conversations with your student, and you're now just working through like, okay, why would I be a great mentor for a student? Why would I be a great mentor continue on this relationship with the student? Because the needs of your student might be something XYZ right now, but maybe come 6 months from now, a year from now, it could change. How do you plan on staying in this student's life even after the program is over? What story will you tell yourself for why you're going to be a part of this student's life even after the mentor program? Post it in the comment section. I'd love to learn about that. And then the last key, the strategy. So what strategies are going to deploy to keep this relationship going? What strategies are going to deploy to just be a part of this mentee's life? And by the way, it's not saying that you have to have regular monthly conversations with this person, but just maybe a check-in every few months can mean huge amounts to these students. So, could you say, hey, let's schedule a conversation in July? I know we're a few months out from July, but maybe schedule it quarterly, July, October, January, April kind of cadence. That, it's 4 conversations a year. If you're comfortable with it, it could be really cool to see how your mentee's life changes over time. And, maybe the roles reverse. Maybe they're mentoring you on some things that you never even considered before. So how can you stay in touch with your student even after the formal program is over? Post it in the chat. I'd love to learn how your thoughts are on how you're going to achieve that. So strategies for continuing your relationship with your mentee even after the formal program is over. 1, schedule your next call for over the summer. Nothing sets the tone like taking action. Don't say like, hey, like let's email each other and text and try to figure it out. There's like calendars get confused and kerfuddled and text messages get lost and some people think about responding and then they don't respond. If you schedule the meeting It's going to pop up in your calendar. And even if you have a scheduling conflict, you're going to need to message each other to reschedule. But if you don't have it on the calendar, if you had a text message or an email that you start or you said you'd get back to, and then all of a sudden you forgot to get back to it, and then all of a sudden it becomes a year later and you're like, oh my gosh, I totally missed it, it will likely fizzle out. But if you can put the time on the calendar, it does wonders for the likelihood that you retain and maintain that relationship over time, even after the formal program is over. And then the next thing I love to do is I love to ask a mentee and a student, how can I help you next semester? Even though we might not be formally paired together in this program, and I'm proud, ideally, by the way, I'd love to have you as a mentor next semester. Please, I'd highly encourage you to sign up. We always need more mentors. But still stay in touch. Like, how can I help you next semester? Can I make any intros? Maybe we could review your resume. Maybe you got an internship this summer, student. Let's recap after the internship's over and see, like, is this a career path you really want to pursue? Or maybe you learned something about yourself and this career path that you maybe, don't want to pursue anymore. And that's okay too. And then ask your mentee if he or she is interested in connecting with anyone and if you might be able to facilitate introductions. I love LinkedIn for this. If you've got a LinkedIn, and it's keeping track of all your connections. I love LinkedIn for this. Leverage LinkedIn. So there's a thing in your settings where you can say like, open up your connections or something like that, or allow your connections to see who you're connected with. If you and your student are connected on LinkedIn, your student can go through your list of connections and say like, oh, I just noticed that you're connected to Jane Doe or John Doe or Jenny Doe. Would you be open to introducing me? And you might say, you know what, I don't actually know them that well. I don't know Jane or Jenny that well, but I do know John really well. I'd be happy to make an intro. Perfect. I think when students can proactively leverage the resources that they have at their disposal to make the introductions easy, it's much more likely to happen. And so that's something that we teach in our workshops. But I would just say on your side, if you open up your connections on LinkedIn to say, hey, allow my network to see who I'm connected with, you can then say, hey, student, go to my connections, see who I'm connected with. If you want an intro, happy to make an intro. Now, I'm personally of the mindset of like, hey, let's just make intros happen. Even though I don't know them that well, what does it hurt to make a LinkedIn intro? If we felt pretty good about our mentee and our student, and we think that they're gonna, be professional in that conversation, why not make an intro? Because it creates a touch point that we would have never had beforehand, and maybe it opens up that door for future relationships with that person you made the intro to. So, just my 2 cents on why I think making intros is powerful. So let me check out the chat, see if we have any questions or anything like that. Doesn't appear. Hey, Julie from Dayton, Ohio. Thanks for saying hey. Thanks for introducing yourself in the chat. Okay, let's pull back up my notes here. So, here's some suggested questions that I like to ask. There are 5 suggested questions that I like to ask to help a mentee find fulfillment. So, they are 1, what rewards await you for moving through this challenge? Now, I like asking that question because by asking the question, what rewards await you for moving through this challenge, what it does is it helps you and really helps your student identify what can they get from working through something that's really hard. Sometimes when it comes to finding fulfillment, students can get dejected or feel like it's insurmountable or that they can't achieve it, or it's just a giant hurdle that just seems too big to overcome. And so if we can focus on those rewards, we can help them realize like, gosh, the beauty, there's gold at the end of this tunnel. Let's keep working through this and try to keep going. Second question I like to ask, what will be the cost of failing to work through this challenge? I think a lot of students don't persevere through their hard challenges because they feel like the cost of failing is no one will notice. But I think if we can challenge them and say, hey, does this mean you're not able to get that internship? Does this mean you're not going to be able to get that job? Does this mean you might not be able to provide for your family in the way that you might want to be able to provide? Does this mean you don't get to live in that city that you've always wanted to live in? Whatever the consequences may be, I don't know what they may be, but if you ask your mentee, you can really help clarify what consequences they have for not working through the challenge. Third question I like to ask is, what might be the impact of your actions? I love asking these questions, and it might seem pretty obvious, but letting your student actually verbalize what might be the impact of your actions allows them to really put into the world what the impact is. And there's power to that. There's enough research that shows that when you actually vocally put out in the world what the impact of your actions are going to be, you're much more likely to follow through on those actions. But if you don't actually say it to people, that being you, their mentor, less likely to do it because if you didn't say it to anybody, no one's there to hold you accountable for it. Fourth question I like to ask is, what will be the impact of not taking any action? So I love asking this question because if we don't take any action, what might be the impact? How, like, and I want to dive deep, like go multiple whys deep. Don't just like leave it at the surface level. Be like, okay, well, why might that be the impact? And why might that be the impact? Because ultimately you might get down to the studs of, okay, if I don't take any action, I might not land the job I want to. I might not be able to earn the income I need to for my family. I might not be able to do the things that I need to do with my life that I've always set out to do. And that's when you can actually start getting them to realize, gosh, I really need to take action because what do I have to lose? I got everything to lose and everything to gain. And so by helping them clarify that and realize that these actions or lack thereof are not trivial, you're going to help them make the right move because you're asking them how this is going to impact them. And then the fifth question I like to ask is, what are you willing to commit to so that you can make a change? This is the part where, like, once you get to that vulnerable level of them realizing the impacts of their action or lack thereof, that's when you can ask them, what are you willing to commit to so that you can make a change? It's such a powerful question after you get to the studs of the why and the impact. Because then it's like, gosh, I need to really do this and I need to do this on a regular basis. And you're like, great, okay, let's check in on that. Let's touch base in a month. Let's see if you were able to do that. Because if you can, and they do, and they can start formulating positive habits, gosh, you are really going to be, cooking with gas, metaphorically, in terms of helping them make really serious progress towards their goals. So 5 questions I like to ask to help a mentee find fulfillment. 1, what rewards await you for moving through this challenge? 2, what will be the cost of failing to work through this challenge? 3, what might be the impact of your actions? 4, what will be the impact of not taking any action? And 5, what are you willing to commit to so that you can make a change? Those are the 5 questions I like to ask a mentee to help them find fulfillment. Once again, thank you so much for being a mentor this semester. Thank you for taking the time to mentor a student and help them with whatever challenges that they're facing. The final step of this program is completing the post-program survey. If you don't mind doing that, that would be incredibly helpful. If you've got testimonials, if you've got feedback, I want to learn it. I want to know how we can make this program better for you and for mentors alike moving forward into the future. But I wanted to let you know I'm so grateful to have had you as a mentor this semester. I'd love to have you as a mentor next semester. I also recognize that if your calendar doesn't permit, I understand, but if you can, give us a couple hours over the course of the semester to help a student, it really does mean a lot, and it really does help. It really does help. It makes a big impact. So, I wanted just to thank you all for being a mentor this semester, and just let you know how grateful I am to have had you as a mentor. If you've got any questions about anything at all, please post it in the chat. If you're joining now, I just saw, we had maybe 1 or 2 people jump in just now. You can please feel free to watch the recording of this, where we just cover just what the next steps are for the program, how to keep your how to maintain your relationship with your mentee over the program over the course of the semester, or rather over the course of the summer and beyond, and how to help your mentee find fulfillment. But thank you. Hey, Audie, thanks for introducing yourself. I'm glad that you're here. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to let you know, thank you so much for being a mentor this semester. And I would love to have you as a mentor next semester and continue these great times connecting with students to help them work through their challenges and achieve their career outcomes. By the way, I've mentioned this before in past workshops, but if you are interested in connecting with other leaders and joining a mastermind group, we've got mentor programs, but for people that are further along in their careers, if you're interested in that, please send us a message on email or message me, connect with me on LinkedIn. At the minimum, connect with me on LinkedIn. And yeah, I'd love to just stay in touch. I post a lot of leadership and a lot of mentorship content, and would love to stay engaged with you on the LinkedIn platform. So thanks for your time. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. If you got any questions, just email support@ambition-in-motion.com. That's the email that was sent out for this workshop today. And yeah, anyways, I hope you have a wonderful summer. I look forward to staying in touch. I hope to have you as a mentor next semester. And if there's anything I can do to help support you as you work through your career growth and trajectory, please reach out. Let us know what we can do to support.